Would like to call the meeting to order at 6:37. Let's have a pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence.
Oh, yes, and a moment of silence, please. Monica, can I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde,
Here.
Mr. Moreno,
Here.
Mrs. Quintana,
Here.
Mr. Rolla,
Here.
Mr. Thomas.
Here.
I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes, please.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the meeting minutes of September 25th, 2018.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Roll call.
Dr. Hyde,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
And we would need to amend the agenda. It's actually on personnel. We're going to change the date from, it was marked October 19th, and it will be moved up to October 9th of 2018. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to amend the agenda to update the personnel action item under administrative resignation number 19 to read effective date Friday, October 9th.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Today's the 9th, I'm sorry. Correction.
No, Darcy.
Is it? What, I'm sorry. Is it, what's the effective date, just for clarification for the
October 9th.
Okay.
2018.
Apologies. Correction, I said the wrong day. Tuesday, October 9th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a roll call?
Dr. Hyde,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
May I have a roll call?
I have to second.
Oh, second.
I second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Hyde,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
And we will now go into recognitions and celebrations, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have two. Our first one is, I would ask the principal of Monaco Elementary, Dr. Lechuga, to please come up.
Good evening, President Quintana, distinguished board members, Superintendent Dr. Abrego. We have our assistant principal from Monaco here she is, Ms. Judy Howell, and we have two people who we're celebrating today and nominating. And I will read why, and I will say their names, so thank you. First, we have Skylar Wilson. Board members, as you know, a teacher is a person who devotes her life to her profession. A teacher is a person who makes or breaks a student. A teacher is someone who cares. She is a person who is empathetic. A teacher creates lesson plans and teaches those lesson plans to the entire class, an individual, or in small groups. A teacher tracks students' progress. She creates and reinforces classroom rules. She works with administration as well. She also prepares students for CMAS or PARC. She aligns the Common Core standards to the assessments given on a weekly basis. She makes sure she acknowledges students' backgrounds and values every student in her class. She prepares and visits for parents and as well as parent our conferences. She assigns homework to make sure students retain what they have learned. A teacher is a gem, a bright, real gem that we need to honor. We honor today Ms. Skylar Wilson. This year, during the month of September, Monaco Elementary entered a crisis with staff turnover in our fourth grade classroom. During this time, Ms. Wilson not only made sure she did her teaching duties, but also supported her fellow fourth grade teacher, who was new to the building. Additionally, she supported a classroom that was staffed by our gracious substitute, Ms. Sarah Grimaldo. Ms. Wilson put in many, many hours to work in making sure that her teammates had the materials they needed and that fourth grade students continued on their educational journey during this trying time. Though a relatively new teacher herself, the professionalism and teamwork displayed by Ms. Wilson is refreshing and a true asset to Monaco students and Adams 14 team. Today, we honor Ms. Wilson as a teacher for all she does. Thank you, Ms. Wilson, for your support this year with our teacher and our substitute. You are great. Ms. Wilson. We also have from our staff a paraprofessional by the name of Ms. Sarah Grimaldo. We would like all of us to thank Ms. Sarah Grimaldo for being Monaco's hero. I call her a hero. You see, a paraprofessional has a lot to do. Paraprofessionals assist teachers in the classroom. They help supervise students outside, inside during their transitions. Paraprofessionals also have cafeteria duty, crosswalk duty. A paraprofessional's duty can also range from helping teachers with in need, in reteach, enrich. They also may help with discipline and to focus our students. They also fill in when needed to cover teachers when the teacher needs to be out of the classroom. Mrs. Grimaldo has done all of these things and more. She's gone above and beyond. Last year, Mrs. Grimaldo was her first year. That was her first year with Monaco as a paraprofessional. She saw the need to get her substitute license to help teachers as a para and a substitute when needed. This year, we not only needed her as a substitute, but she also took on the role of a teacher when a teacher could no longer be at Monaco. So I asked Ms. Grimaldo for her help. I asked her to substitute for this class. Without hesitation, she rose to the task. She said, I will do it. The students know me, and I want to do this. Now it has been easy. Now it has not been easy for her, as she needed to quickly learn what she needed to do as a teacher. She took the teacher's editions home to study and spent many, many nights preparing. She became those students' teacher. For these reasons and more, I am nominating Ms. Sarah Grimaldo for Paraprofessional of the Year. We could have not done it without her stepping into this position. Her actions demonstrated care and love for students as well as for teachers and parents. Mrs. Grimaldo, I thank you for what you have done on behalf of the students, teachers, and parents. We thank you and recognize you for your heroism. You are one of a kind, as you know. We thank you, and we know what you did, and thank you so much, Ms. Sarah.
Take a picture.
Dr. Lechuga, can you bring your staff up? We would like to take a picture with them.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We also have one other recognition, and I'm going to ask the principal of DuPont Elementary to please come up, Ms. Pat Almeida. Pat has a substitute today.
Thank you. President Quintana, distinguished board members, Superintendent Abrego, and our community. I'm Brian Clark, the assistant principal at DuPont Elementary, and I'm representing our school this evening. I also have Nancy Morris here. She's our community liaison. And this evening, we would like to recognize the Ascendant Corporation, locally here in Commerce City, and Suzanne Orbalego. So the reason for the recognition here is that on August 15th, DuPont, we had our back-to-school night. Students were able to meet their new teachers, drop off supplies, eat hot dogs with their neighbors, and receive a lot of great community information and resources. Ascendant made coming back to school a treat for all students at DuPont this year. Each student received a backpack filled with school supplies to start the new school year in style. It's so much fun to walk down and see a rainbow of purple, green, blue, yellow backpacks filling our school. Teachers also receive baskets of classroom supplies to help them get started with the school year. Community partnerships build our capacity to fully serve DuPont and the Adams 14 students. Not only has Ascendant done that this year, but this is the 7th year that they have come in and sponsored a school to provide our students with all of their basic needs to be successful in their school day. We look forward to continuing our relationship with Ascendant and their generous employees. Their generosity has been incredible. Suzanne, thank you to you and Ascendant as well.
Nancy, would you like to say something?
Just thank you.
Very welcome.
We appreciate it very much.
Okay. You want to take pictures?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go into communications and
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to remind everyone of the process for audience participation here at our board meetings. When you come up, please state your name and where you reside. You will have 3 minutes. We welcome all comments, including criticism. We just ask and encourage that folks refrain from personal attacks. And we encourage folks to try to keep any criticism constructive on recommendations about how the district can improve. The president may recognize a board member or the superintendent to respond to questions or comments or to make a statement to clarify as well. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to your comments.
okay, the first one, I think it says Karen Clark.
Kevin Clark.
Kevin, sorry.
Chair, Superintendent Abrego, members of the board, I'll try and keep this quick. My name is Kevin Clark, and I'm the senior class president for Adams City High School. I am college bound. I'm currently class rank 8 among the seniors. I'm in the top 10% of students in the country that took the SAT. I've almost satisfied all my credits, and I'm part of 2 programs at CSU, 1 program at CSU Denver, Inspire, National Honor Society, and Student Council. My achievement in this district is an abnormality. I transferred to this district in 2010, right around the time that the district was put on an accountability clock. My previous school had told my parents that I had learning problems, that I was incapable of understanding concepts at the same capacity as other students. I felt ostracized, like something was wrong with me, but that all changed when I came to Monaco. I had teachers that cared about me, that helped me when I fell behind, and I've been fortunate enough to have had many teachers who gave me that support. It was my teachers that helped me succeed. I'm not in the majority, though. Most of the teachers that I've had aren't even in this district anymore. 90% of my staff at my high school left last year. I state this because tomorrow you'll be explaining to the state why another year has passed with no significant improvement. I've spent years attending these board meetings. observing the turmoil happening in my district. My sister, who goes to Monaco, was wrongly identified as having learning deficiencies, and our family received a very demeaning letter from their principal. Now I know that Monaco's principal was here tonight, and the purpose of this isn't to be defamatory, rather to outline the issues that my family has faced in the district. The same institution that saved me from feeling discouraged is now discouraging my sister, and I have reason to believe that she wasn't the only one. I've never seen my high school off the accountability clock, and as a student of this district, I never will. Each year that you're on this clock is another year that you're failing students. I'm afraid that my sisters, another who's at the high school, will fall behind due to the incompetency in this district. The time to listen to our community has been long overdue. I've expressed to the board on several occasions to fill that seat that's been vacant for 2 years with a student. I was in the organization that placed a student on the board, and I'm tired of feeling like my voice is falling on deaf ears. I'm a part of this community. Every student is a part of this community, and their voices are just as important as any parent or staff. It is your mission to have every student prepared for college, to keep the state from closing the high school. If that's your mission, then you have to start listening to the people that you impact. If you don't believe in that cause, then you shouldn't be on this board. Thank you.
Next is Carmelita Munoz.
Hello, my name is Carmelita Munoz, and I am here on behalf of the Donald K. Foundation. The Donald K. Foundation is a family foundation that aims to improve public education within Colorado. And as a foundation, we believe in providing increased opportunities for all families so they can seek to provide the best opportunities for their children when it comes to school options. Because we believe every child has a right to a great and high-quality education, we ask for you to accept KIPP's charter application. And on a personal note, I grew up in Commerce City. I went to elementary school in Adams 14, and I'll be honest, I had a great elementary school experience. I had wonderful teachers, and I excelled during my elementary school years. But when it came time to go to middle school and eventually high school, my parents chose to send me to a private school in Westminster. Both of my parents graduated from Adams City High School. They are still very, very proud and are Adams City Eagles. But when they looked at their own secondary education in the district, they didn't feel as if they had the best education within Adams 14. They didn't feel as if they were led down the path that would set them up for college. Because they did not feel that the academics were up to par in my middle school and high school options in Adams 14, they decided to look into other school options that would provide me with a better education and more opportunities for my future. I was lucky because my mom was able to drive me 30 minutes each way to school. And I was also lucky because somehow my parents were able to afford the tuition for me to go to a private school. Sadly, not every family has the same financial transportation and financial opportunities as my family did. Looking back, maybe if there was a different school option within Adams 14, such as a KIPP, for example, maybe my parents would have been able to keep me in Adams 14. I am very grateful for my parents' dedication to my education. Without their sacrifices, I wouldn't be where I am today. I want every student in Adams 14 to have a high-quality education, and right now I don't think that is happening. I think it's great that KIPP works with families and the community to allow students to be successful in Adams 14. With that being said, I ask for you to consider a new possibility for the families and the students of Adams 14 and accept KIP's application. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmelita. Next is Jody Slavic. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you and good evening, board members. My name is Jody Slavic, and I've been working in the field of bilingual education for 18 years as a teacher, as a coach, as a district support, and now as a PhD student and researcher at CU Boulder. One thing I know for sure after these years working in the field is that in order for a bilingual program to work, there must be many, many supports put in place. I want to thank the board for listening to the countless parents, teachers, and community members who advocated for the biliteracy program for the past 2 years, and for your September 28th request for a plan from the superintendent for the continuation of biliteracy instruction for the 4th grade. While an important first step, I must say that people are nervous that there will not be the proper supports put in place for the biliteracy program to be successful. And if teachers are not successful, students will not be successful, and there's not one person in this room who wants that to be the case. To make the biliteracy program successful, it must be a priority in the district. This message must be clearly communicated to all building and district administration, because teachers, coaches, administrators, they'll all need to navigate countless decisions that creep up along the way. Coaches and principals will need to support biliteracy teachers in using Spanish and English resources that make sense, in planning instruction in both languages, in interpreting students' progress in both languages, all of which looks very different from the traditional classroom. This is not easy work, even for those of us who have been in the field for a long time. You need people who deeply understand biliteracy and can support the principals and the teachers. Yet most of these experts in the district were let go or pushed out last year. So people are nervous. Will they get the support they need, or are they being set up for failure? I urge you as a board to be loud in your message to the district that biliteracy is a priority and that administrators, coaches, and staff must be on board. I urge you to make sure that the superintendent's plan includes the voices of teachers and students. You have passionate, knowledgeable, bilingual teachers in this district, 4 of whom are being recognized this Friday by the Colorado Association for Bilingual Education as outstanding educators, and many more who are equally deserving of this award. Incorporate their voices and expertise. Invite them to be leaders in the continued development of this program. There's so much potential here in Adams 14, and Adams 14 students deserve a quality biliteracy program. Please help us make it a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Next, we have Jose Guardiola.
Good evening. Thank you. Jose Guardiola, 9443 East 106, Carmen City, Colorado. I come today to speak as a concerned community member and alumni. This district has failed our kids. For the past 8 years, it is clear that we have not made the progress that the state has wanted us to do. In the recent data, it seems that we went down instead of going up. This also means that a kid like Kevin Clark, who came in 2010, has been in a failing district his whole academic career. Yet, he's resilient, he's proud, and he will make it. But out of those 10 kids, only 3 of his graduating class, or in this district, will be reading at grade level. That's a failure. Think about it. Our kids deserve better. Wouldn't you guys agree? Are we given the best we can? I don't think so. And it's because of the leadership that we've had for the last 8 years that we keep failing. I asked the state 3 priorities. They said consistency, school culture, and moving forward, and we have not hit any of those 3. Our school cultures are horrible. You guys have been there. Consistency, 90%, 80% of our teachers have left. And moving forward, we went from a 39.6 to a 36.6. That's not moving forward. We need leadership that will hold the superintendent accountable. It will be transparent with our community, and we will move forward and meeting our demands as community members. Tomorrow, there's a protest at the state building for the State Board of Education. Our community is tired of the deaf ears that this board has not heard. So now we're taking it a step further. We're gonna, hopefully, they could hear our cries and our screams and our problems and our hearts on a different level to show that this board has not done its right. The oath they took has no meaning to you guys. We want a board that is gonna take it, I quote, serious the first time. We need better leadership, and I hope the three that are on this recall will do the right thing and step down, because it's gonna happen. Thank you.
Next, we'll turn to the superintendent's report.
On the superintendent's report, the first one we have is going to be the recommendation to the board on KIP application by DAC.
Good evening. My name is Connie Bonnell.
Regina Hurtado.
We are the co-chairs of the DAC committee for this year. You have a packet that we had printed for you, so you can go through with us with the slides. Regina, you want to read it? Okay. The DAC committee was given the KIP application to review and make a recommendation to the Board of Education of District 14. The committee decided to split the application into 3 parts. Subcommittees reviewed their section of the application. This included analyzing each section, highlighting areas of concern, discussing the pros and cons, and encouraging in discussion amongst their committee members. DAC members also attended KIP tours, the TIP community informational meetings, and interviewed a team of 6 professionals with extensive knowledge in all areas of charters. They included, and I'll let you just read who was there. Some of them were at the board meeting, also came to our DAC meeting.
So the rubric we decided to use, we broke down into 5 parts, beginning with school culture. Amongst everyone in the DAC committee, their pros were longer lunches and days, 15-year track record, college preparatory programs including student planning to attend trade schools. It was culturally relevant. Arts and social studies curriculums would be drawn from the culture of the community. They had large fundraising opportunities and an open enrollment. The cons were the lottery limits. Moving into teaching, the pros were the professional development of all teachers and staff, all staff mentoring program, ability to bring in experts to teach classes without the limits of licensing. The cons, KIP's annual staff retention rate is 2% lower than Adams 14. Too many assessments. There are no bilingual assessments. Biliteracy model was not defined or clear in the application. Certification of teaching staff was not defined. Do teachers hold a teaching certificate in the state of Colorado? The education program, the pros, high expectation and annual performance targets, standard-based learning, more minutes allotted for literacy daily. KIP offers 180 minutes compared to Adams 14's 120 minutes of literacy daily. A lot of support for students to reach their potential, hands-on project-based learning, works with students beyond graduation, helping to navigate through college or trade school, higher exposure for all students to AP classes, and aligns to the Colorado state standards. The cons, bilingual does not mean biliteracy. Missing comprehensive biliteracy curriculum specific to KIP Commerce City Charter School. The biliteracy program is new to KIP Colorado. It was missing plans for accommodations for special needs students. The first year only offered to students in pre-K, kinder, first, and fourth. Only planned to service 6.6% of students with an IEP, and the district currently services 14%. No consistency between curriculums in KIP Colorado schools, and student exits defined in application as October to October. Leadership, the pros, student voices. They have weekly town hall meetings led by student leadership and student ambassadors. The cons, district disciplinary action. Data shows suspension and expulsions nearly double that of DPS. Plan to exit 10% of students October to October. And lastly, governance. The committee could not find any pros in this area. Cons, confront the person for the conflict resolution. Missing salary scales, only internal grievance processes. There was no staff experience. There's no appeal process, no union. Large amounts of money coming from anonymous donors. Board election process was not clear. There's no community parent representation. It is corporate driven and no defined options for students who cannot afford uniforms or supply fees. Will students be refused enrollment?
Through deep consideration, thoughtful conversation amongst DAC members, we have voted to deny the KIPP charter application. DAC has committed to looking for a solution that benefits all students in Adams 14. We will research and evaluate what school of choice options can we provide within the district. We would like to thank you for the confidence in allowing DAC members to thoroughly review and participate in this process. While we know this isn't an easy decision, we hope that this offers some insight into the overall feelings of the parents, teachers, and community members that make up DAC.
We're going to open it up to questions now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for your very thorough review of the application, and I know how much time it took from your lives to invest this much in this process, and I just really want to thank you first off for that. The most surprising statistic I found that you mentioned was that the staff retention is 2% lower than Adams 14. Is that across administration, teachers? Do you know if that's across the board or?
I am not sure. That wasn't part of the overall group that I was in, but I do believe it was across overall.
Okay, thank you.
I believe that's true also.
I have a question.
Mr. Thomas?
When you say cons on school culture, when you say lottery limits, can you explain that?
So according to the application, they would have room for a specific number of students. After those spaces were filled, it would be open to a lottery system. So anybody wanting to apply to KIPP after that enrollment, it would be a lottery system.
So they put them all in, like, how do you mean lottery?
So it would be everybody's name in a hat, I guess, and whoever got those 3 spots, it would be just like a lottery process.
And I'd like to go to educational program page, please. And cons. And you say missing plans for accommodation for special needs students. Where did you get that from?
Can you repeat that question? I didn't quite hear it.
The missing plans for accommodation for special needs students. You said that's a con, so how did you come up with that being a con?
And this actually was not part of my section either. Can I bring up Deborah?
Please.
That was her section.
Okay, and also, could I make a comment on that?
Yes.
I have a special needs great-grandson that's in this community. And according to all the meetings and the tours that I went on, number one, when we went on the tour, I never saw one single special needs child in either of the schools that I went to. Didn't see any accommodations for them. Just didn't seem to me that they were really on board with special needs or IEPs.
Do you mind if I ask how many schools did you go to and approximately how many students total?
I went to the northeast school over in, it's over that way.
Denver?
Denver. Well, they're all in Denver because all the KIPP schools are in Denver, Green Valley. And it was a very nice school. It was a beautiful tour. We went into several classrooms from, I think we went into a first grade classroom. We went into an older kids' science classroom. We toured several areas of the school. I saw no appearance of an IEP student or a special needs student or a wheelchair student or anybody like that. I missed part of the tour, second tour, but I went to the high school. And I did not, so there was a big bunch of stairs I had to climb to get into the building. So that's not too conclusive to special needs children. I was impressed with some of the students that I met there at that school. But again, we went into several classrooms, did not see any indication of any special needs class students in that building at all.
Madam Chair.
So I'm Deborah, and I reviewed this, Deborah Figueroa, one of the DAC members. I'm a teacher as well. I reviewed the educational program, and it's literally like, it wasn't there, sir. Like, when you write a plan or when you write certain components to an educational program, you want to see all of the appendices or, you know, what is your protocol? What is your process? So in the special needs section, there was no language around how would you accommodate. What would be the accommodations? More time, you know, auditory devices, what support? So and what Connie is saying, we serve every type of special ed student in our district. We have mildly special needs to severely non-linguistic, you know, physically handicapped. So those are the things that we're noticing not present. This statistic, the 6.6%, was an average that was found in research of their schools as a KIP organization. So on average, and I believe our number is a lower average. I would ask the special ed department, how many kids do we actually serve? Because that looks like the lower end. We serve a lot of kids, is basically the bottom line. So explicit, detailed plans about how you're going to do something was missing.
Thank you, Deb. My next question goes
Can
to...
I finish responding to the first question? Also, I asked specific questions about the special needs children and what their plan was, because according to the waivers, they were not planning on buying services from District 14. They were going to hire their own. So my question to them was, who are you hiring? Where are you going to get these resources? When it came right down to the bottom line, they were saying that probably they would have to get resources from Adams 14.
Okay.
Because they don't have any of their own resources.
Thank you. My next question go to leadership, please. Can you answer the question, plan to exit 10% of students from October to October total? I'm confused with that.
That's actually written in the application
Okay.
underneath the third section, I believe, under their plan for their data plan for what their expectations within the first 5 years. And at the very bottom of those expectations, those goals that they plan to meet, it says they plan to exit 10% of students October to October.
Each year or?
Each year.
Okay, thank you. I'm done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I have a question on the same leadership, on the cons. It says strict disciplinary action data shows suspensions and expulsions nearly double that of the DPS. So are they like no tolerance? Is that what they're saying?
I actually asked that question directly at one of the community meetings, and she did acknowledge that their disciplinary is strict, but they were working on a few different things. It was never gone into detail, and I haven't received any answers back. But according to CDE data, it does show that their suspension and expulsion rate is nearly double of DPS.
Okay, thank you.
That was also stated in one of our tours, because that question was asked, and they said they are looking at some different alternatives for discipline, but they hadn't done anything with it at the time we did the tours or reviewed the application.
Okay. Dr. Hyde?
You and Mr. Thomas just asked the questions I had.
Okay. Senator Moreno?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This question's for either Ms. Hurtado or Ms. Bunnell. Was the vote to deny the application unanimous from DAC?
There were 4 for, 1 abstention, and 11 against.
Thank you.
So there were 11.
Thank you.
And 11 against.
Right.
And
1 abstained.
And 1 abstain.
Right, and 4 voted for the acceptance.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, on superintendent's report, superintendent recommendation to the board on KIP application.
Thank you. I don't know if you have the presentation. Do you have some slides? Okay, yes, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, distinguished members of the board. I'm here tonight to provide you with the recommendation on the charter school application we received from KIP, Commerce City Academy. The first slide I'm going to present to you, you're viewing the performance of Adams 14 ratings from 2010 to 2018. You can see that since 2010, both the district, Adams City High School, and some schools have not earned a rating above priority improvement. The next thing I want to say is that we do not like this. We're not satisfied with this. The board is not satisfied. I was brought in as a superintendent in August of 2016 to address specifically this issue to help the district improve. When I got here, I quickly noticed that we have students who want to learn. We have teachers who are very dedicated and spend long hours with our students. We also have quality administrators who genuinely want to help all of our students achieve and have positive outcomes. However, to accomplish this goal and help our district and all our schools get off priority improvement, I keep stating this over and over. We all have to work together on one focus, and that is to improve the quality of education for our students. I have another slide for you. This slide right here is a 3-year slide that indicates that Adams 14 does have a strong desire to improve our schools. In Spanish, we call it ganas. So it's here. The work first started with a focus on equity and equality for our students, staff, and currently we have a very strong focus on academic achievement here in Adams 14. The slide indicates that our strategies in the areas of professional development, English language development, data-driven decisions, and holding all staff accountable for the academic achievement of our students is a priority in our district. For the first time in Adams 14, we have 3 green schools, and we do not have any schools that are in turnaround. Again, we believe when the community, students, and staff are involved, all students learn and succeed. We are not where we want to be. We know that. But we are definitely moving in the right direction. The next slide is a slide from a KIP school. You can see KIP Northeast Denver Middle School in the middle. The slide indicates that even when a charter school enters into a district, they may not have success. KIP Northeast Denver Middle School was in priority improvement in 2016, and the following year, in 2017, they went down. They went down a turnaround. Parents and families in Adams 14 have choice on sending their children to a performance school in our district. Alsop and Kemp are both performance schools serving students in kindergarten through 5th grade. Kerr is also a performing school and serves students in grades 6 through 8. Improving the Adams 14 district is not about having others come in and fix our schools. It is about all of us working together to do the job ourselves. Next slide. My rationale is based around 4 concerns. The first concern is inconsistent with community and district beliefs. Adams 14 believes in traditional public schools. We believe in individuality, critical thinking, problem solving, while KIPP's application model emphasizes compliance. Another item, KIPP's model and Adams 14 have philosophical differences. On rationale number 2, Adams 14 students can already attend green schools within the district. I asked the parent and families why they wanted an additional charter school in our district, since they already had choice. Some parents and families were unaware that they could choose a performance school in Adams 14. Parents and families in Adams 14 have charter choice now for grades K through 12, and have performance choice for grades K through 6 in Adams 14 with the schools that I mentioned earlier. My message is still the same. If you live in Adams 14 district, get involved with our schools. We all have to work together to improve our schools. It's our job. My third concern is with the biliteracy model. The biliteracy model that was presented was not adequately described. I visited their classrooms and I was informed that they teach children 3 weeks in English and then 3 weeks in Spanish. In my opinion, that is not a biliteracy model. Adams 14 serves more than 3,000 students who are English learners, and they deserve an outstanding model that meets their individual needs. Concern number 4 was a desire to improve the climate and culture. You've heard it here today. We need to improve this area. This school year, I've seen transformational change in our district and in our schools. When I go visit schools, teachers are excited and staff tell me they enjoy coming to work and they are enjoying a positive climate that enhances learning. The president of CTA and I are collaboratively working in unison. That is a good thing. Again, I was brought to Adams 14 to improve our schools, and a KIPP approval would devastate the climate and culture of Adams 14, as well as impact the path to improvement we are on. Therefore, my recommendation as superintendent is denial for the KIPP Commerce City Academy Charter School application. If you look at the next slide, these are things that are going to be happening. Option number 1, if the Adams 14 board approves the application and the district have 30 days to negotiate and approve a contract. The second option, if the Adams 14 board denies the application, the applicant may appeal to the state board. You can see the steps there. If they appeal to the state board within 15 days of the decision, the applicant must notify the board of their decision to appeal. Recommend to the local board, if the state board disagrees with their decision, they can send it back to our local board. If the local board denies again, the decision could be appealed again. The final decision, the state board has the authority to make the final decision. This slide lists the steps that could happen. And then finally, I'd just like to give you some of the upcoming events that are coming up, and that is October 11th, the community meetings at our Savior Lutheran Church. On October the 23rd, there could possibly be a study session with the board. On October 23rd, a public hearing. And on November 13th, the board makes their vote. And that's all I have.
So we will proceed on with routine items. 1.1, superintendent's recommendation. This is on personnel. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item
1.1.
1.1.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I approve. I second 1.1.
Is there a discussion? Seeing none. Monica, roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 1.1, resolution. Superintendent's recommendation, resolution number 18-011, Colorado Statewide Investment Pool. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 1.1.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 1.1.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 1.2, Superintendent's Recommendation, Resolution Number 18-012, a resolution calling for Classified School Employees Week, National School Lunch Week, and National School Bus Safety Week in Adams 14. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 1.2.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica? Roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
2.1, we're under policy. Superintendent's Recommendation, Policy IKF-revised, second reading / adoption, graduation requirements. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.1, policy IKF.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
2.2, Superintendent's Recommendation, Policy IKF-R-new, second reading and adoption, graduation requirements, menus of options. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.2, policy IKF-R.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Under grants, 3.1, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval to accept federal grant funds from the English Language Proficiency Act. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 3.1.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to other, 4.1. Superintendent's Recommendation, approval to contract with Team Tipton to conduct Phase 2 of a 2-year Design the Future process. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.1.
May I have a second?
I seconded the motion.
Any discussion? Seeing none, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.2, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval to contract with Little Giants Preschool to provide preschool programming for students in Adams 14 School District. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.2.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.3, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval of pest control services contract. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.3.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? May I have roll call, Monica?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.4, Superintendent's Recommendation, approval to contract with American Produce as the primary produce supplier for nutrition services, fresh fruit and vegetable program grant. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.5, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for Adams City Middle School to travel out of state for a 4-night, 5-day field trip to Washington, D.C. and New York City to enhance the 8th grade Colorado history curriculum, further explore the branches of government, and visit college campuses in the area on April 27th through May 1st, 2019. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.5.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Savina, do you know, are they still accepting chaperones for this?
I believe the chaperones, they,
It was a joke. Hopefully, they will be attending, or they will be touring Georgetown University in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you'd be good for that. May I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
4.6, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for in-state overnight travel to attend the FBLA Fall Student Leadership Summit in Vail, Colorado on October 22nd, 23rd, 2018. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.6.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.7, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for in-state overnight travel to Keystone, Colorado for the annual Colorado Association School Executives, Colorado Association of School Personnel Administrators Human Resource Conference. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.7.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.8, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to use general funds for food and beverages for teacher professional development evening trainings. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.8.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Monica, may I have roll call?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 4.9, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase tutoring services from the Center of Urban Education at Metropolitan State University of Denver for Adams City High School students. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.9.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion on this? Seeing none, Monica, roll call.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
4.10, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase Aruba wireless access points. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 4.10.
May I have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? Monica, roll call.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
And we are now in communications. Dr. Hyde?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two items that I'd like to mention. The first is that last Friday, I believe it was, I attended the Lester Arnold High School. I don't have the exact title of what they did, but essentially they invited 100 first graders from DuPont Elementary School to come to the high school, and the Lester Arnold students explained demonstrated a number of science experiments. They took them out to their greenhouse that they have, that they maintain there, and talked to them a little bit about growing radishes, and everybody got a radish. And at any rate, I just thought it was an excellent type of program because it was good for the first graders to see something like that and to learn about science and so forth. And I think it is also an excellent opportunity for the high school kids to be in a position where they have to organize, plan, and explain the project and so forth to the first graders. So I commend both schools for their participation in that. And the second thing is a small mystery, but is there anybody here from Kemp this evening? I showed up, and this was sitting on my chair this evening, and it says, Dr. Hyde from Kemp Elementary. And it says, the time to be happy is now. The place to be happy is here. So I'm not quite sure why I was selected for this, but thank you, Kemp, for this interesting talk.
Thank you. And I would like to bring up Mr. Thomas was awarded the McGuffey Award in Casby. So there's the pictures. And I think that's a great accomplishment. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for nominating me. But that award is for, thank you, Madam Chair, for nominating me. Thank all my board members for their support. But that award is for Adams 14 for their hard work. It's not just me. I'm receiving that award based on Adams 14 hard work for the 3 years I've been on this dais. So it belongs to this district, not just me. So I thank everybody for Adams 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things. One was yesterday I spent almost all day teaching government courses at Adams City High School. It was wonderful. Always impressed by the level of engagement with our students and their very insightful questions. Really enjoyed that. The only other thing that I'll mention is want to congratulate Miss Norma Portnoy on her retirement. That was just announced. She's the executive director of Kids First, and so they'll be searching for a new director. But congratulations to her on her well-deserved retirement.
Mr. Roller?
Yes, I'd just like to mention that on Sunday, I went to the art fair, or was it Saturday? Can't remember. But went to the art fair in downtown Derby, and I would like to say if you miss that, you really miss some of the best artwork that some of our students at Adams City High School have done. I went to the KIPP High School on the tour, and they had a lot of good work, but they couldn't stand up to our kids. They had some great work, and I hope a lot of them sold it because they were selling at that time. But there was other things that I believe our students could have put up in that show that would have really brought some showing what our students are doing at Adams City High School.
I totally agree with Mr. Rolla because we went to the same high school for KIPP. And as walking out, they had these huge portraits on the wall of the art the kids had done. And I thought, wouldn't that be great in our schools? Because we have great artists to have that hung up on our walls on a canvas. So we did spend last night in a retreat, but that's beside the point. What was brought to us was the culinary arts brought us some little pumpkin
appetizers.
Pies. They were so tiny, right, Mr.? They were so cute, but they were good, So I just want to give them a thank you for just doing that, because they didn't have to. but they made them for us to show us what they do in culinary arts, so I thought that was really great. And I have one, Dr. Abrego, I'm so sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to share with the community that Adams City Middle School had a fundraiser last week because they want to send their kids to Washington DC.
Yeah.
I also attended, and I was pleased to see, he's in the back there, Principal Martin, stand up. Principal Martin, and not just, you're clapping, you don't even know what he did, let me tell you. It was Principal Martin and our board member, Mr. Harvest Thomas, and they had the mariachis at that school. And both of these gentlemen just jumped in there and started singing in Spanish. Did you know that these gentlemen can sing in Spanish? So thank you so much
They
for
have
that.
it on video?
Let's hear it.
Is it
Let's
on
hear it.
video?
Somebody had it on video, but I personally wanted to congratulate Mr. Harvest Thomas because he's well deserving of that award. Not just did he do this, but I was also able to see him when Kemp had their fundraiser, and he volunteered to be in their dunk tank. And
Yeah,
luckily, it was a nice day. But congratulations, Mr. Thomas. You're appreciated. So that's what I have to share with our community.
Okay, we have a need to discuss a date sometime November 19th or the 20th for a board, for a study session, for the auditors to share the draft annual financial report to the board in preparation for official approval for the board on November 27th. So we need to know which date and what time is good for everybody.
Could you
Either
repeat the two choices?
November 19th or November 20th. And we'll have the board meeting on the 27th.
I would prefer the 20th.
The 20th?
20th.
Is this an evening meeting?
Well, that's what we have to figure out, meeting, what time. Do you want it in, what time in the evening? That's a Monday night, so.
If it's the 19th, yeah. That's
You okay with that, Mr. Rolla?
it's the 19th or
The 19th is a Monday.
Tuesday.
He wants a Tuesday. The
I
20th.
can do the 19th, but if you got a conflict, that's.
I have an evening commitment, the
Okay,
20th, so if
the
we can do the
20th.
19th, that'd be
19th, you want?
Okay. What time? How much time do we need?
90 minutes minimum.
90?
4:05? 4:05.
4 to
4, 5 minutes after 4.
4:05.
Yeah. Is that good with everybody?
Yes.
Did you get that, Monica?
We decided on the 19th.
The 19th at 4:05. So Harvest has time to get here.
90 minutes, right?
Yeah, 90. So, okay, I think that's it. Our meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening. It's 7:45.